Wrestling Fan and Wrestling Show. I'm the big beefy boy Shaz Beef, and today I'm joined by my two fellow marks, the old bucket himself, Morro, and Johnny the Beast Mortos. How are you getting on?
Good.
Did you enjoy our Royal Rumble episode?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a bit.
It was chaos.
It was absolute chaos.
Healthy chaos.
Healthy chaos.
Yeah,
It got a good fan reaction. Wrestling show fan reaction.
I believe so, and people want to know maybe when are we going to book the Bo Dallas to WrestleMania. I think that needs to be a video outside of the podcast. I think we need to have like a war room type situation.
Yes.
Sit down and then like actually present our story to camera.
Do you know that Charlie Kelly in Always Sunny when he has all the things on the wall? I think
Pepe Sylvia.
Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be in the Royal Rumble?
No.
That's not part of the storyline that you're weaving, is it?
No,
He's already won our Royal Rumble.
He won our Royal Rumble, the random Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
The Wrestling Show random Royal Rumble.
I'm not against Bo Dallas.
Look, I've been in the lab at home with a pen and a pad, trying to book a Bo Dallas WrestleMania,
or
feasible WrestleMania,
or he could just give his opportunity to The Rock.
He could just give his opportunity.
He
to
might
Rock
be forced to.
and just give him a
Anyone
hug.
might.
Give him a hug and say, "I'll finish my story
At
another
different
time."
And then boom, now we have the Rock and Roman easy book.
Yeah, we'll book
or
that.
Rock and Cody, or Rock and anybody.
Rock and Gunter.
Rock can do it.
Because if I can book that match,
What?
Gunter wins by pinfall in 47 seconds. Night 2 WrestleMania.
Slaps him to death.
Slaps him to death. 47 seconds.
Nice. Well, today we're going to talk about someone who has exerted as much control as The Rock has seemed to exert.
That was a real nice segue, Shane.
Thanks very much.
That's a great segue.
King of the
That's one of your
segues.
best segues in
Yeah,
a
I really
while.
like
actually.
it.
Thanks
Really
very
impressed
much.
with that segue.
We're going to talk about Hulk Hogan, brother. Because a lot of people have asked me, they've seen like the Hulk Hogan on Netflix coming out and everyone booing him. He's like, why is everyone booing Hulk Hogan? Is he not like your messiah, your god? Like, I'm like, nah.
No.
Maybe back when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was
because I
9
did
years
have a
old.
Hulk Hogan poster on my wall.
We all
So
did.
he, like, in some ways, he was your. Did you say your prayers like to him?
I
to that
did,
poster?
yeah. Yeah, I did. Named the Father, Son, and Hulk Hogan.
So he was kind of like your Messiah, or like your actual God in a way.
No,
was
I
part of the Holy
was
Trinity.
always an Ultimate Warrior fan. I was more Ultimate Warrior than Hulk Hogan.
You were a little bit younger than us, you see.
See, I knew he was a racist before.
You felt the racism.
Why age were you discovering the race? Like 7.
4. No, I was always an Ultimate Warrior fan growing up, but Hulk Hogan obviously was a massive part of all of our childhoods. So to see him go from what he was, and I was of course a big WCW fan, to how he is viewed now is a bit mad. But today we're going to talk about the legacy of John's favourite wrestler, Hulk Hogan, Mr. Terry Bollea.
I'm not rising to the bait. I've gotten quite animated before in the past on this podcast about Hulk Hogan.
Didn't you have some
Today I'm not. Today I'm
Hulkamaniacs
just
come
going to be
after
really
you?
chill. Just going to throw some facts out into the air,
You had
debate
some-
them, discuss them.
You had some Hulkamaniacs come after you directly on the internet, didn't
Yeah,
you?
I had to move house. It was pretty fucking dark.
Yeah.
They were all in white hoods and
That was Ku Klux Klan.
burning crosses in John's
Who
garden.
he also set upon me.
Hulk Hogan, maybe we'll just like starting out in the 90s. There's no getting away from like he's headlined the first 7 WrestleManias, or the first 8 WrestleManias. Really?
Fuck it, go on, say it, Shane. The first 9 WrestleManias.
The first 9.
Oh, well, Bret Hart.
The first
yeah.
9, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I feel like that will be discussed at some
That'll
point
have
in this
to be
conversation.
discussed. Yeah, it'll have to be discussed.
And actually, how the
Well,
ramifications.
he doesn't headline WrestleMania 4.
Oh,
yeah, the tournament.
But does he show up in the main event?
He does.
Yes,
Of course he does.
he's in
it's
the main
Hulk
event.
Hogan.
Yeah.
Does he pose down with the winner?
He does.
Okay.
Whose music played?
Hopefully Randy Savage's, but
I have an inkling
You
that
just
there
couldn't
was a
be
bit of
surprised.
Real American blasted as well. I can't remember.
One of my first WrestleManias that I actually got to watch, not as it was happening, but like as recent as I could,
in
was
the days.
WrestleMania 8.
Yeah.
And I was so confused as to why Ric Flair and Macho Man,
Wasn't the main event.
yeah, for the world title. But then I didn't care because Ultimate Warrior came back.
I mean, that was supposed to be the WrestleMania that he was finishing up on because big old steroid trial brewing, and
He's the poster boy.
he was the poster boy. And
For steroids.
that was easily a match that could have happened in the mid card and really shown
Yeah.
that the company was preparing for life without him.
Yeah.
It was a fucking disqualification, had a botch finish.
Botch.
Papa Shango.
Savage and Flair had a belter. That robbed Flair from his only really like definite could have been a potential WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
I know they build it as a double main event, but
It's not.
it should have been Flair Savage. And like that's just a partner with Hogan all the way throughout. It's
Yeah, I know.
not knowing when to leave, but also never knowing when to leave in the right way.
But like, did you care when you were a kid? Because
Yeah.
like, you know, like the John Cena.
Definitely.
When I was growing up, I'm getting a lot of hate now because like I don't want John Cena to win the 17th
Who's giving us
birthday.
hate? What's going on? I'm getting really worried about this.
No, yeah, we get a lot of people giving out. Saying,
Everyone gives out.
You know my thought of John Cena never wins the 17th.
Yes.
You know, he loses at every.
Yeah.
fight.
Did you
And
get
then
death threats because of that?
I got people giving out who's weak. You don't fucking like
you don't speak for the C Nation.
Yeah.
Well, you fucking don't, Jane.
But I was like, we hated the C Nation growing up, and we hated John Cena growing up. But at the same time, like, was there marks like I was when I was a teenager during the Hulkamania period
Definitely.
that hated Hulk
Definitely.
Hogan?
Yeah.
I was one of them.
When did your hate?
Did you hate Hulk Hogan as a kid?
I didn't hate him, but I just think I just naturally did not gravitate towards like the main character of the show. I enjoyed Hogan simply because he usually ended up in like interesting stories at the time.
Yeah.
But definitely a point where it was about like 7 or 8. And
I'm sick shit.
definitely I remember that WrestleMania 8 season, and like been excited for that, and just seeing. It just felt at that point as well as like a growing wrestling fan that like stuff would go to shit and it would usually involve him.
Yeah,
for the most part, like stuff you were excited about.
Like,
would
how
go
was
shit.
he? How was he a face going into WrestleMania 8 when he clearly cost Sid?
Oh, that's I think probably one of the reasons why in the WrestleMania 8 season you were starting to sour on him.
Just like
because it was that Royal Rumble that did it
so
for
many
me.
other wrestlers at that point.
Like Roddy Piper and Bret Hart have an absolute banger.
Banger.
a banger,
WrestleMania.
and in some ways an underrated banger.
Yeah,
like
it's-
Savage and Flair have a great match.
Yeah.
that is an easy WrestleMania
Main event, yeah.
Yeah.
Hogan and Sid lumber around the ring, and it was mad because it was coming after Savage and Flair and Bret and Piper.
Yeah.
And then you were seeing what wrestling could be, and then you were getting presented with this shambles of a main event.
Yeah, and what really broke the illusion for me, genuinely, even as a fucking kid, was like watching that Royal Rumble when Sid threw Hogan and seeing the fans cheer.
Yeah.
I'm getting this kind of like, you know, feeling this weird anti-hero vibe that I've never seen in, you know,
Up to that point, no.
And then how hard they course corrected back to like real bad guy Sid.
Yeah.
And, you know, Hogan is the all-conquering hero. And I was like, oh, this is fucking boring.
Born.
I was like...
It was born by that
there's a
time.
go-
It was like Flair made photoshops of Savage's wife.
Yeah.
I don't know, not photoshops at the time, but like doctored images. As
Yeah,
they used
the
to
brown
say.
envelope
I remember seeing that
fucking-
WWF magazine, and I was like, man, he's gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Like,
But is it goes to show Vince McMahon's unwillingness to kind of move on from
I
say,
suppose
that
like
style of cartoon wrestling that got over so much in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like the 80s and the 90s, like you look at even music and the genres of music was changing as they do throughout the decade.
was Hogan just smarter than a lot of guys? I mean, when you look at like how the Warriors, you know, world title main babyface run to replace Hogan was.
shambles.
Like his booking, he got bad booking. Not that Hogan ever got like impeccable booking, but he was mostly served by, for the standards of the time, fucking pretty solid booking, well protected. And then Warriors fell flat on his face. And you see, and Bret Hart then had the exact same challenges. Which were compounded by Hogan literally coming back to fucking
steal
Jay
the
Leno
show.
his spot.
Yeah, like
You know?
But is that Hulk Hogan just, as you said, being smart and just being adamant and knowing what way his character...
I genuinely think there were ways in which he was very smart. I think there was also ways in which he cut the legs off of
Like, do you
perceived threats.
do you think something like, you know, the WrestleMania 6 finish, where people talk about, you know, he kind of kicks out on 3.
3.00001.
Yeah, and then he gives him the belt, and then, you know, and
He was big brothering him.
But he reported to, like, say, I've seen it in documentaries where he's going, people were looking at me instead of looking at him in the ring.
Yeah, that's bad if he's actually purposefully trying to pull focus.
But that's what I mean. That's what I think he often tried to do.
But I don't think
So you could say it
Like,
was
you can-
smart, but because he's protecting his spot as the top guy.
Well, no, I'm saying is that kind of like marky of us to be like, oh, he kicked out Untry, and oh, look at he's
No,
giving him the title.
I
and
think
I actually
that's-
don't
that's-
mind that too
That's
much.
a perception thing as well, though. Like, it might be marky of us. It might be marky of us to say that, but also it creates a perception in the casual fan too.
I don't think it makes Warrior look weak or anything.
Not that it makes Warrior look weak, but it keeps focus on Hogan.
Which is only useful there, really, if like they're going to be working a program down the line.
And they weren't.
There was never a hint of
No.
You know, they were just tag team partners.
Yeah, like that just seemed like a one-off.
Yeah.
one and done. You know what I mean?
But you know, you go to a year later, and again, I mean, if Ultimate Warrior had been kept strong and had, I don't know if it was down to him and his fucking temperament.
That's very possible too.
But like, his booking wasn't terribly strong as champion. But with Randy Savage on board, that match between them at WrestleMania 7, which was Savage's retirement match, like if that still had the world title in it,
like Slaughter and Hogan didn't need the title. If
did not need the title.
If you're doing the Rock versus
at
America.
that point, you know, if Hogan has passed the torch at WrestleMania 6 to the new hot babyface the year before, then ideally you're giving that lad at least a year of a fucking run.
Back in those
Warrior
days, especially.
weren't like Kevin Nash nearly got that. Warrior didn't even fucking get that. You know what I mean? And Warrior and Savage would have been a much better main event for WrestleMania that year, particularly with like the satisfaction of the finish of like Elizabeth returning and beating the shit out of Sherry, and she gets back on Watch On. That is a WrestleMania main event, and
that moment felt like a main event,
absolutely.
like a WrestleMania closing
but then you got
segment.
you got fucking tired ass Hogan coming back against Sergeant Slaughter in this really bad taste.
Well, is it tired ass
also,
Hogan because like we've probably skipped over like the first few WrestleManias? Like he was the man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look at the house between WrestleMania 6 and WrestleMania 7 as well.
7 was a complete.
I looked at I watched back over WrestleMania 2 there, and I really enjoyed his match with King Kong Bundy.
Yeah, but he's so fresh then. Like that's like peak. Like no one can deny he was.
That's
he was a hot star. Completely changed how the business was perceived, despite what people's criticisms might have been of him. But like he was on fucking fire up until WrestleMania 5. I think was
the start of.
After that, probably the peak, but it was still burning hot. Like up until
after 5, it begins to decline a bit.
I feel like 6 was a very natural end for
it was perfect.
that phase of him as that character or whatever position he was in, because everything else was a massive law of diminishing returns after that. Like
and
he could have just been clearing the decks, and he could have been getting younger guys over. But
which he didn't do till Billy Kidman in 1998.
No, he won the tag team title and stuff as well. Did he win it with Beefcake?
With Beefcake,
post WrestleMania 6, like who does he put over until he fucking crawls back out then in the summer of 1993?
But after
Yoko to a degree, but Yoko's been fucking Yoko's been built for months and trashed by him in fucking 20 seconds.
And that and that finish as well was like the flash of the camera and stuff.
But you build up this monster fucking heel so successfully.
It's crazy. It's crazy that
did he put over Taker? You spiked me, brother. You got me, brother.
You broke my neck.
He went backstage. He buries the fucking Undertaker.
He went to Vince and said he broke his neck.
Yeah, but
the kid doesn't know how to work.
He laid claim to the fact that he found the Undertaker.
How?
So he said that he found the Undertaker on Thunder in Paradise or some type of TV show he was shooting.
The Undertaker, the timelines don't work out. The Undertaker,
that's
one of Hogan's lies.
The Undertaker, it's one of Hogan's lies. The Undertaker did get cast in Suburban Commando.
That's
as
what
this
it was.
alien bounty hunter. But he was under contract at that point. That film came out like late 91.
Yeah, but Undertaker comes in 1990.
Hogan on a few sabbaticals to, he was getting his movie career like spurting to life.
Mean Mark was still... he was still with WCW on Great American Bash 89 and stuff.
He signed kind of autumn of 90.
Would it have correlated?
No,
I don't know. Unless
was
Hogan watching tapes of WCW at the time and going, I'd love to work with him. I'd love to work with him.
I think it was like Mean Mark was on the set of Suburban Commando. That's what Hogan. I've read Hogan's book back in the day.
Hogan claimed that he discovered Kevin
Owens.
He did say that.
Kevin Owens, but there's Hogan now in the late 2000s going around to fucking PWE shows,
PWG and Ring of Honor, hiding up the balcony or whatever.
You mentioned his movie career. I remember him showing up in Gremlins, of course, in Rocky as well, which got him.
Thunderlips in Rocky was objectively fantastic,
and that got him kicked out of WWF. Initially,
and the first run.
Yeah, for Vince's dad, and then he went back to AWA.
Yes.
And then when Vince Senior or Junior took back over, that's when he brought Hogan in.
Yeah, because they had a big star who with a lot of charisma who was starting to cross over into the mainstream. Yeah, there really wasn't anyone else at the time.
Vince's dad didn't really see Hogan as a world champion. He saw him as an attraction.
And keep in mind, like Vince's dad still had, Bob Backlund was still the world champion up until like late.
Well, it was Vince
84.
Vince Junior who
late 83.
Late 83,
Hogan won it in January 84.
Was it January?
I think that was it.
Cheeky Baby only had it for 3 weeks.
So Backlund was the top face, and for 4 years, that was the top guy.
So Vince's father saw Backlund because Vince's father was like, these guy, my champion has to seem legit. Bruno would actually kill you, like, and Bob Backlund
Morales.
could actually, who had an amateur wrestling
Well, what about
credentials.
Superstar Billy Graham? He was the champion.
It was more of a transitional. I know he had it for like 8 or 9 months, but he was seen as a transitional champion to get it onto babyface again.
He's a massive inspiration for Hogan. Hogan created a lot of his style,
and Jesse Ventura.
So much steroids in. Like he was the first properly roided wrestler that was WWF champion.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say that about Bruno or Morales.
No, but I think then like Vince Senior saw Hogan as like almost like an Andre style attraction.
Yeah, which was really short-sighted.
Yeah, he was wrong. Like obviously Vince,
but he
Jr.
was in
was
it.
right.
I mean, he had showed up in that territory in the late 70s as a heel, where he took on Andre the Giant. Another, obviously, one of the bigger lies. So much of Andre Hogan lore is.
I want to get into the light. We can get through that.
Well, he was in there as a heel, and that's how Vince McMahon Sr. initially saw him.
Yeah, and then Vince Jr. brings back 6th title on him for years. You know, biggest star in the history of wrestling.
I remember
at that point.
As a kid, I loved the Ultimate Warrior, but like I also like there's something special about having a VHS tape when you're a kid and like Hulk Hogan's music plays.
Unbelievable.
Like that, I still get riled up over Real American.
Yeah.
Rick Derringer or whatever. Even though that's the US Express's theme song or whatever.
I was into him for a bit. I enjoyed his cartoon. I knew he was like the main character.
Yeah.
But I just got like after a while there was so many more interesting characters.
The longer I started watching it and like the older I got, like then I just started associating more or like connecting more with like Bret Hart, Randy Savage, those kind of guys.
Let's be honest about it, lads. It became apparent after a while that Hulk Hogan was just a shit friend. He was a shit mate to everyone. He started all that shit with Savage and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You could see it was clear on the screen. Everything Bobby Heenan said about him was
it was so
right.
bizarre that he was like the white meat baby when he consistently did shitty things. Like
real shit to his friends, always undermining him, undercutting him.
Hey, Brother Brute, man, he was good to him. Brought him along for the ride everywhere he went.
True.
Yeah.
Brought him WCW as
Booty Man.
And what was he had another name?
Didn't he like bang his wife in like real life?
He banged his wife in real life.
Is that not Bubba the Love Sponge?
See, you know what I mean? He's a bad friend.
He's probably banging everyone's wife. I don't know.
He's Hulk Hogan. Well, Hulk Hogan was. Terry Bollea wasn't.
Yeah. Well, there's another. He said at one stage that he had a 10-inch penis.
We're going to get into all these lies.
Have we not already been fucking in the thick of this man's lies?
Dissecting
this man's absolutely dishonest
we have to go through his career first, right? Because we have to show why.
Can we go to WrestleMania 9 then?
No, we have to. Yeah, well, we have to show why he's revered. I think.
Yeah.
Or would be perceived to be revered by wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Like,
he had a cartoon series.
Yeah.
I hit cool music.
He was a cartoon music.
He was a
Saturday mornings.
He was a superhero.
Yeah.
He was a real life superhero.
And he was a product of the 80s.
Yeah.
You know,
was right up to the
pure
max.
Americana 80s. Yellow, sang American shit. Had big muscles.
Hated foreign people. Cannot stress enough. This will come into play later.
It's impossible
will come
to
into
stress
play later.
enough how much he hated foreigners.
Every foreigner possible.
Didn't matter if you were Russian,
Like who were his friends?
Iraqi.
A man who worked down the docks.
Yeah.
Tugboat.
Mr. T.
A barber.
A southern farmer, hillbilly Jim Harmless.
Mr. T.
Mr.
T.
That kind of ruins your argument there. Headline the first WrestleMania with Mr. T.
Yeah,
but like Hogan's a bit of a
Jimmy
Hogan's
Snuka.
a star fucker.
He's a star fucker. He's a star fucker.
Jimmy Snuka. He showed up in WrestleMania 1 on that side.
I think it's appropriate for him to be pally with the fucking
I knew he was.
with the certified locker room murderer.
Yeah, the actual like real life murderer.
Muhammad Ali called him the greatest of all time.
Muhammad Ali
had a degenerative brain disease at that stage. I'll be the one to say it.
I was really struggling to find
I'll be the one to. Muhammad Ali had a degenerative brain disease at that stage. I love Muhammad Ali. I have a wall
loved
in my
Hulk
house.
Hogan as a kid. That's all I'm saying.
Look, so did I until WrestleMania 9.
He's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. Like nobody can deny what he did for the business. Vince would not have succeeded with anyone else to that degree.
No.
He was a massive star.
He gets to WrestleMania 9 then.
I think he's pretty fucking solid gold in the 80s.
Yes.
But I think once we cross the threshold into the 90s, that's when the more
all starts to
problematic
fall
behaviour.
apart. So
and it genuinely starts to fall apart.
Like I think
And business starts to go down even with him.
we're
there.
still in WWF.
Warrior
now.
got to blame, but like,
So like
we get to 93.
yeah,
he wasn't bulletproof anymore.
Yokozuna is your world champion.
He's after beating Bret Hart.
Oh no, sorry. Did Bret carry the title into 9?
Yeah.
Yes,
So Bret beat Flair in, I think,
Saskatoon.
in Saskatoon in December, I believe.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Saskatoon.
In
Yeah.
92.
Saskatchewan. Yeah.
He beats Flair in 92.
Late 92, December 92.
I think it was October 92.
It was after SummerSlam.
After SummerSlam, before Survivor Series, and
because he had Survivor Series against Shawn
Michaels in a very mediocre match.
Bret had a tidy little run, not as good as it could have been if he had a load of like exceptional opponents lined up.
Who did you go up against the Royal Rumble 92?
93.
93.
Razor Ramon. He was fresh,
yeah,
he was fresh in. They had a tidy little match.
You felt like what I felt like there was the main event scene was starting to get ticking, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and we missed out on like the potential of like there was a lot of veteran guys heels that Bret could have worked with that he missed a chance to work with around the time because Jake Roberts walked out.
Yeah.
I think that had been a feud that was set up for him.
Roddy was gone at this stage.
Roddy had
Piper was gone
again as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then
this is an ideal time for a heel Hogan to be fair.
All the steroid heads were out the door after the
Ted DiBiase stuck in the tag team ranks.
Yeah, and getting older.
And the act is getting older.
Yeah.
As well.
Bulldog is gone.
You steroid man, yeah.
So Bret, similar to the Warrior, doesn't have a great start, but like it starts taking up with
Sid is gone.
Sid's gone.
Sid's gone, yeah.
Sid's gone for like that's
Warrior goes in late 92. They're keeping Hennig.
Macho Man's on commentary.
Macho Man sat on commentary for some reason.
Desk, yeah.
Like
perfect.
Bret just ends up working like loads of guys that are just like new, like
Virgil,
brand new Shawn Michaels.
Perfect is on WrestleMania 9.
Against
Lex Luger. So Lex Luger is just after coming in.
Yeah.
Yokozuna is basically the first Hogan-esque heel for Bret Hart to face, and he's done in that same way where it's like the slightly xenophobic gimmick. You know, it's a big Japanese guy, which doesn't work as well against Canadian.
And also he's not Japanese.
He's not Japanese. They build him as Polynesian. He's Samoan. One of the OG bloodline.
Yeah.
If him rocking some version of that character against Bret would have been perfect. These two, like at the time, the hard lineage, like if they were in any way plugged into real life,
and the Maivia lineage,
the whole lineage is there.
You have the head shrinkers on that card.
Like imagine if that had been the build for Yokozuna and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9. Head shrinkers are there against the Steiners, lads.
You could have had like
stuff potentially on the table if only Vince was good at booking.
You could have had like Bret Owen and Jim the Anvil versus Yoko and
I don't think you can fault him for Yokozuna. That was as a kid.
Oh yeah, Yokozuna was
through those
terrifying.
Lenses.
Yeah,
look, Yokozuna's fucking amazing.
Two managers, Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette.
Had have two at the same time. He was that good.
Yeah,
but that sumo gimmick was great. It definitely had room to evolve a lot more. But at that time, like he was fucking bulletproof. He was really squashing lads in a way that I can't remember.
It was
maybe Earthquake a little bit.
It depends on how much he liked you, how much he squashed you.
Yeah, but it was super visceral. His finishing move, like when you watched that on telly as a young lad, you were like,
holy shit!
Like,
yeah, he just wreaked destruction.
Yeah,
you know, and like that damage he did to Hacksaw Jim Duggan as well.
Yes.
Anyway, great foil for Bret Hart.
You're going into WrestleMania 9 and you're like, as a kid, you're like, how is Bret going to win this?
Hogan comes back.
Hogan shows back up.
Keep in mind that Hogan has showed back up
to help,
weighing considerably less than he did the previous year.
Yeah,
with a black guy at WrestleMania 9.
Well, WrestleMania
the 24-inch pythons were about 18-inch.
We'll get to that, but he rocks back. He's in the tag team division, so it's in terms of billing, it's the first obvious delegation that he's had in his main big run. It's happening in WrestleMania. He's tagging with his friend Brutus, who was coming back after having his face mashed up 2 years previously.
Speedboat accident?
Jet ski accident. So apparently, a woman went full force into his face.
She hit him with his knee.
Her knees just drove fully into his face. Yeah, he was in bits. And he was wearing a mask. He was wearing a metal mask.
He's still wearing a mask. That's 2 years on.
Bit of a vibe. Jimmy Hart hit the face for the first time in ages as their manager, and they're going up against Money Inc.
Yeah,
that's his spot in the card. That's exactly where he should have stayed.
Was he got bet in the face with the briefcase?
IRS's briefcase was used to probably dislodge some bolts and nuts. In poor old Leslie's fucking.
Hulk Hogan shows up with a black guy at WrestleMania 9.
Yeah,
that was reported a jet ski. That was the jet ski accident.
No, Randy Savage bet the fucking tar out of him. For real.
But apparently he said it was a jet ski accident.
Yeah.
That's why he had the black
That's
guy.
how your friend had his face.
He just couldn't think of another story.
Jet ski accident, brother.
He just looks at Brutus. Jet ski accident.
So Jim Cornette came out and said Macho Man had punched him.
Yeah, apparently that's why they cleaned him out in the hotel bar.
Over what? Over
talking shit about him, I'd say something along those lines. I think at the time the accusation was that he was kind of in like fucking art imitating life or life imitating art. Get in between Hogan and Elizabeth, like Hogan
between Macho and Elizabeth.
Macho and Elizabeth. Sorry, that Hogan and his wife were interfering in the breakdown of their relationship, which had been happening at the time.
Elizabeth was partying with Linda or something like that.
Yeah, they were good friends apparently. So, Savage had accused Hogan of interfering and bullshitting.
Yeah.
Surprise. And fucking
decked him before.
And poor Savage isn't on the card at all. This is the first WrestleMania, but he's really forced to
essentially retire. Like he's forced into retirement.
He comes back for WrestleMania 10.
He'll be back for 10, his last WrestleMania. But man, he should have been on this fucking. His card was crying out for him.
Needed.
Just put him against Backlund.
Yeah, like
put him against Razor.
We're in friggin' Caesar's Palace in Vegas. Everyone's wearing togas.
He pitched to work with Shawn Michaels, and he couldn't even get the card. Fantastic. And then he has to sit there and watch.
Shawn Michaels goes against Tatanka.
He has to watch Hogan, who he's punched the night before, have 2 matches.
Yeah.
One of which he wins the world title.
Earlier in the night, Hogan and beat Money Inc.
Did they win the titles?
Disqualification.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. When I was saying it earlier, I was like, no, they never did.
Yeah, no,
he didn't pick up a tag title, I think, until he tied with Edge.
Edge,
2003, was it?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So then you get the main event, the one we're all waiting for. Super well built match. Bret Hart versus Yokozuna.
9 minutes long.
9 minutes long. Bret gets salt in his eyes.
Salt in a man's eyes.
And Yokozuna.
Not the worst finish.
Hey, I was all for that finish.
Yeah.
Was it that Yoko got gassed though, so Bret had to call it early?
That apparently was the case.
That to be the case,
but I mean, it wasn't the epic match I think that Bret Hart was looking for, but
it was still a decent match.
It was a serviceable match. It kept Yokozuna looking like a fucking animal, and also Bret looks really good in defeat. And the fact that Yokozuna had to cheat
to beat
for
Bret.
the first time,
and because all we had seen up to that point is Yoko squash fucking everybody.
There's so much there then to set up, like. Even just having Hogan arrive on the scene is enough to go, the entire summer program, which apparently was intended to be, is like Hogan and Bret jockeying to take down Yokozuna.
Yeah.
That's it, lads. That's going to get everyone to SummerSlam.
And it would have been your first time with a major heel winner at WrestleMania, and you're closing the night out with who can possibly beat Yokozuna.
And then in a thrilling twist, a couple of months down the line, Lex Luger emerges. Yeah, you end up at SummerSlam with Luger, Yoko, and then Bret and fucking Hogan fighting each other.
Yeah,
because what's happened again? All the headliners been used. Hogan's actually in the mix with younger lads who are like a Luger or Bret Hart who should be taking his place.
Bret Hart
could bump for him.
Yeah, exactly. Bret Hart could have got a great match out of that Hogan.
But
at
would
that
Hogan
time.
get on board for it?
God no. So what did Hogan do, John?
Hogan interferes, comes in, challenges Yoko to a match, even though he just wrestled a match at WrestleMania. This is another example of
a heel move.
A bad fucking dude he is, like pure heel move. Yoko, party pride stinging a bit. He decides to go first. Nah, you're dealing with Hogan now. Like the
political machine,
the political maneuver like no other. Yeah, Hogan ends up going over 22 seconds.
Hogan beats
the Monster
Yoko.
Heel push is fucking done.
Dead in the water.
As a kid, like you can.
Bret Hart looks like a dumbass, by the way.
Yeah, Bret Hart looks like a dumbass.
You probably.
As a kid, I'm fucking angry. As a kid, I'm angry as fuck.
At that stage, I'm
9 years old and I'm snapping.
I wasn't. I was like.
Fuck this shit! Where are you going to complain? Like, there's no internet.
No, I could complain. I could complain. Complain to me, brother.
Complain to me, father. He said wrestling is stupid. What the fuck you on about?
Grow up, son.
Yeah, get outside. Get out there and play some hurling or soccer.
Go play with the traffic.
And I'm like, you don't understand. Hulk Hogan robbed Bret Hart's title.
And he did.
Bret told him he should go get Hulk.
Yeah, Bret checking. Yeah, go on.
Like all this culminates in by the time we get to the King of the Ring and Bret realizes that he's got maneuvered.
Yeah.
Yoko's got maneuvered. Everyone's kind of pissed off. Hogan realizes the heat is on him. Wants to avoid doing any jobs.
Yeah, of course.
And agrees to drop the title to Yoko at King of the Ring, the first pay-per-view King of the Ring that they'd ever had.
Of which Bret wins the King of the Ring.
Bret wins 3 amazing matches in one night.
Cracker of a King of the Ring.
Hogan gets balled out of Bret Hart in the dressing room twice, actually, over the course of that event, because Bret confronts him in front of the boys about not wanting to put him over.
Yeah.
He denied it.
Hogan denies it, blames Vince. And apparently they'd shot photographs. I remember never seen it in WWE magazine at the time, but it was like it was teeing up Hogan.
This is happening.
This big SummerSlam match between Hogan and fucking Hart. Hogan didn't want to job to Hart. And that's why it ended up in a mess. Yeah, but he drops the title to Yoko via a fucking fireball to the face.
Yeah, took a fireball off Fuji.
Motherfucker just couldn't go.
Was that not the flash in the camera?
He should have just got.
Wasn't the flash in the camera?
Yeah, Harvey Whippleman did it.
Sorry,
Well, he wasn't
Whippleman,
credited
not
as it.
Fuji. Yeah,
it was Whippleman. And that's how Yoko wins. I mean, the good thing is that Yoko wins.
has 3 managers now.
He's got 3 managers.
Whippleman, Cornette, and Fuji.
Well, Cornette doesn't come for another while.
No, Cornette's not.
Cornette was there.
He's
for 10.
on his way in.
Yeah. He was there for 10.
He'll be there later in the year.
And that's the end of Hogan.
That's the end of
in
Hogan's
WWE for like 9 years.
Okay, so from the point in 1990 at WrestleMania 6 where he puts over the Warrior, fair enough. Who gets over for the next 3 years working with Hogan?
Not one person.
And then we all know Hogan's obviously on the decline.
Yeah.
But
Star power and all.
even if you look at the guys that he went up against even before then, all the monsters like King Kong Bundy after WrestleMania 2, at WrestleMania 3 he's in a match with Little People and Jim.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Then like John Tenta purportedly was very upset with his positioning.
He should have been so much better after, and he would have been served so much better by being an opponent of the Ultimate Warrior,
Paul
a
Orndorff.
fresh fucking opponent for Ultimate Warrior to take on at the start of his reign. You know, that would have really helped him. He had Rick Rude there, but and they had a great feud, but we'd already seen that with the Warrior.
Like Andre was always going to be on his way out anyway.
Yeah, he was in the
lifestyle.
But also he had like severe back problems by that stage.
Like you're just looking at the caliber of opponent. Maybe Macho Man was the one that stayed ascended. That didn't drop.
DiBiase was a really useful opponent for a long time.
Kamala, I think as well.
That was over around '86. They had a run. And that was early on actually.
The Paul Orndorff run as well.
The Paul Orndorff one, but that's when Hogan was fresh as hell.
Yeah,
you put him against anyone and you're making money.
But what did Paul Orndorff get out of in the long run?
Yeah,
like
a shit ton of money.
I suppose he got paid.
I mean, they pulled one of the biggest house shows in history in Toronto.
That's like the biggest house.
60,000 for a house show.
Like I think that's also the most successful house show program up to.
I think it was
maybe Rock and Stone Cold in 2099 or something.
Another big thing that he's done during that time was put a kibosh on Jesse the Body Ventura and his union.
Yeah, boys could have had a much sweeter deal. Look, he was a big dog on top. He was making so much money. He got himself into a position where he could dictate who he wanted to work with. Anybody who got the chance to work with Hogan wanted to work with Hogan because you would make so much more money than probably most other people in the card. Certain people would have, been getting big guaranteed paid. Well, not guaranteed.
Very good guaranteed then,
but much better structured paydays. Your Randy Savages, your Andre the Giants. But like people wanted to work with Hogan because it meant you're on the top of the card.
Yeah, you're going out in the house show circuit and you're getting paid shitloads more because you're working with Hogan.
But they say the actions of that for smart fans now, the actions of stopping that union, I think that also plays into the reason why he gets booed. Because even going back 40 years where you're like, you piece of shit, you could have done something really good back then and you didn't. You protected yourself.
That was WrestleMania 7?
2.
Oh, 2 was the
Union Buster.
Buster.
Oh yeah, that was early on. Like that was when when money was really starting to flow into the organisation after WrestleMania 1.
And he goes and rats him out to Vince, denies it for 4 decades, and then accidentally lets it slip on. Was it the Vince documentary where he
properly confirmed it for the first time?
That was the first time he confirmed it, but he did it as if it was not. And it's like he forgot he'd been lying about it for so long, because he denied it for like 40 odd years.
For years, no.
Then he goes off. He makes Thunder in Paradise. He's the nanny.
Just to say, sorry, that only came out when during the steroid trial when he had to testify in court.
Yes.
That's when Jesse got confirmation for the first time. That
but I think
had been the rat.
I think they knew, or like they had suspicions.
Who could it possibly be? The guy with the most to lose. Well, like that's what he perceived.
He leaves WWE. He goes and does Thunder in Paradise.
Movies.
He does the nanny, and then he does that's when the trial is, right? He's gone.
No, the trial's before that.
But he's gone from WWE.
He's gone from WWE, but by the time the trial happens, he's gone. He's actually, I think he's just about signed with WCW.
He hadn't signed yet, though, hadn't he? Not.
I'm not.
No, I think he was a free agent.
I feel like he had. I think he had.
When he did the trial,
I think so. Yeah.
I thought the trial was like.
I think the trial was.
So he shows up in WCW 94.
Summer 94, and I think that's when Hogan lands in.
He shows up 94. Was the trial not before that?
I don't think so.
I'll check.
But no, I think he was definitely not an employee, and he went on the stand. And I think WWF were quite nervous about him going on the stand and testifying against him because
he was the star witness.
He was a star witness, and he knows where all the bodies are buried. I don't know if that's literally, but
93 was the trial.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So he wasn't signed.
I don't think he was signed.
But he still, I mean, he didn't say anything that really incriminated Vince.
No, he protected Vince.
He protected. Like that's what you get from the documentary in what you were saying. They expected him to say this and that and this and that, and then he was just like, nah.
Well, like, isn't there like rumors? I suppose that his initial like affidavit or whatever is different to what he actually said.
That's why they were so. That's why they were so confident.
Yeah. So he had told them one thing in a meeting beforehand, and then when he went on trial, he told a completely different story.
A lie, perhaps?
Look, it's Hulk Hogan, John. I'm assuming both stories were
yeah, but does Terry lie or does Hulk Hogan lie?
Don't do. Their split personalities is the same asshole.
That's what he used in court. He used that in court.
It's just the same.
Terry Bollea does not have a 10-inch penis, but Hulk Hogan
does. There's no difference between them. You know, there just isn't.
Well, I say it to Hulk Hogan.
They're both pieces of shit.
Which one has the 10-inch penis?
I invite him to come on this podcast.
Yeah, Hulk, if you're available.
You fucking say your bit, Hulk.
So he goes to WCW. The act is waning.
Oh, big time.
Like he's bringing in all the old people out. Like I think he goes up again on the first Nitro against Big Boss Man, isn't it? Bubba.
Keep in mind, like he's going down to like a southern organization who their taste in wrestling
is very different.
He is the antithesis of that. And they pull out all the stops for him. They give him everything he fucking wants. He's got creative control, which is actually a thing that Vince never even gave him. I mean, he had influence.
He had influence, but he didn't have it in his contract.
He wasn't running to drop the title to the Warrior in 1990. You know
doesn't
what I mean?
work for me, brother.
A lot of things didn't work for him, brother. And but he's more control now than ever before, and he gets a veto on what programs he works.
Yeah.
But you can start seeing it in WCW where he's bringing in. He brings in John Tenta.
Yeah.
He brings in the Shark. Like
you had the Kevin Sullivan crew of
Dungeon of Doom,
and
he brings it like WCW gets populated by a lot of his old friends. Honky Tonk Man gets to go. Jim Duggan is in to beat Steve Austin in something like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
For the US
or
title.
TV or US? Is that US? Yeah, it was one of them, yeah.
A lot of
he beats Flair.
He beats Flair, in his first pay-per-view match.
Beats
for the title. Beats Vader.
And you're just like, oh fuck, he's going to be the unstoppable force.
It was just Hulkamania 2.0.
Without the cool song.
Without anyone really caring.
I think Bischoff felt that the turn was inevitable, and then after much persuasion and
a lot of persuasion,
probably
2 years,
ego maintenance.
It's nearly 2 years.
Yeah, it's nearly 2 years.
Like where he's been Hulk Hogan and the
National Hall came in. They were excited. Like they were guys at their peak, and they came in while they were still pretty hot after WWF run. Completely left Vince in the fucking dirt. Got a much better deal. Go to Atlanta, and all of a sudden Hogan feels threatened by them, so he does a very typical Hogan act.
Now is the time.
He allies himself with him, and he sucks up a lot of their fucking heat as he did.
Look, that extended
he sucked up a lot of their coolness. I think.
But that act for like the first year and a bit was fucking. It was bulletproof.
Best thing
it was white hot. Nobody could touch it.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, going right. I did love the NWO when I was growing up, because massive WCW fan, it was the one that I had access to. But
it's also iconography.
But there was something about Hogan that just, I don't think he suited. Like, he's the perfect guy to turn, but his character was still almost stuck in the 80s. It was like, you don't know what you're going to do, Jack.
And
then I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if he
Hall
was like
and Nash are speaking like humans.
Yeah.
And he's still in
doing
old
the cartoon
promo.
stuff.
Yeah.
Where it'd be brilliant if he was like Ron Perlman in Sons of Anarchy. You know the way he's kind of like the head honcho of the motorcycle gang, but he's like, there's no cheesiness about him. He's just a badass.
I don't think Hogan would have been able to play that type of character.
That's too much nuance for
him. Exactly.
Hogan. We're speaking of nuance.
Hollywood.
Hulk
but still, I mean, he was great as a heel. I mean, he did
completely reinvigorated.
It reinvigorated him. Even like the basic heel turn, he didn't go too deep into it. Unfortunately,
but people were turning him already, though.
True. People
you talk about the southern thing.
Everyone was sick of his shit.
Going back to Flair, like, he wins the world title, and they're meant to have a back and forth, and he's just like, no, it's not happening.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah,
it just didn't work for him, brother.
But then again, he puts over the Giant in his first night.
Yeah,
did he?
Well, he dropped the title to him.
Maybe
puts over Goldberg in Atlanta.
Yeah, that he did.
Yeah.
40,000 people.
These all happened before he put over Billy Kidman.
Billy Kidman, true.
Yeah, like Roddy Piper, they ran back that feud back in '96.
No, I tell you who he didn't put over.
He put over Lex Luger clean as a fucking whistle as well.
Yeah, but also he won it back from Lex Luger.
He did. Look, he always gets
very shortly afterwards.
Warrior showing up in WCW in 1998.
In the worst program of all time.
Sad.
He had to get his win back.
But here's the general thing.
Can I just interject there quick because
well, the Renegaded before that, so you had the Ultimate Warrior.
Fake Ultimate Warrior, yeah. But there's one like egregious program in WCW. What was the NWO set up to do? Really was
take over WCW.
Yes, and who was the representative of those? Sting. And they're going to Starrcade '97. Sting is supposed to win clean. Not so much banish the NWO, but finish that chapter. What happens?
Oh yeah, I know. Like
Hogan politics everyone and slightly has the match finish changed.
Yes.
So Brett and Sting look like dumbasses.
Yes. So what happens?
Hogan ends up. Or Sting ends up having to win just on a restart, doesn't he?
Yeah, so basically what's supposed to... Like, the match is supposed to be Sting wins clean. And that was the agreement all along. Hogan gets there on the day, starts politicking, and gets the finish changed to...
fast count.
The fast count, restart, Sting wins then.
And Nick Patrick is supposed to administer his fast count.
And the stories go that Hogan got to him backstage and told him... Nick brother, just do a normal count.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Eric said it's cool, and everyone else knows exactly what's happening. Yeah. And that's what happened.
And Nick does a normal count, and then...
Sting doesn't kick out. It doesn't kick out.
It doesn't kick out, and
Hogan beats him clean in the middle of the ring.
And then they restart the match, and Brett comes down and is like, "That's a fast counter." Like,
and this is the hottest build of a feud for any main event in WCW history.
In history,
like in Sting's coronation as a truly top guy in that era.
Hogan at Starrcade.
Hogan apparently wasn't happy, say, with
doing a job, brother.
No, but Sting's. He'd been off for a year and he wasn't happy with Sting's physique.
This is
or
the
something.
story. Sting's not fit.
Put your working boots on. Help your fucking co-worker put on a good match.
But
he's just been a sabotage and.
But he did no. But like when you look, he puts over Goldberg because he can see.
That's later.
Yeah, I know, but he puts over Goldberg because he's like because beating Hulk Hogan should fucking mean something.
Yeah,
it should mean something.
They did that match way too quick as well.
If he was looking at Sting and was like, this guy doesn't take beating me that seriously. Well, fuck him.
I don't know. I feel like he feels threatened by Sting.
Maybe so, but he puts over fucking Goldberg because Goldberg at the time deserved it.
Yeah, I think it's a thing though as well of like there was nothing to do but put over Goldberg.
I don't think it was the only thing that really had momentum.
It should have been a pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
But there was no other way to do that.
I think they could have held off a little bit longer.
They should have done it
a more long-term story out because they needed it badly.
It's easy to go Hulk Hogan politicking, blah 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 blah, but there must be
money, brother.
But there must be a method to the madness in terms of like
why there's all these promoters.
Hulk Hogan made so much money, and the reason why he made so much money is because he protected himself from and made the business so much money from like say stuff that he perceived to not work. So by going, that doesn't work for me, brother. Well, you kind of have to trust him because he has a track record on it.
In the wise words of Phil CM Punk, whatever his second name is, Brooks. Because there's another UFC guy called Phil Brooks, which confuses me. Vince was a millionaire who should have been a billionaire. That's Hogan as well. If Hogan had put over people at the right times, he makes more money.
If you're talking about legacy here and not like, he made loads of money and, the guy is probably still living well. He runs a couple of fucking shops in Florida, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he surf shops and shit. He's doing all right. Like, he's grand. He didn't seem like he made so much money. It seemed like he saved it or invested it.
I'm not basing the fact that Hogan was right on the amount of money that he's won.
Did he leave the business better in his wake? Yeah, sure. He created a perception that definitely helped a lot of guys become bigger stars and building what he created. But in terms of actually like actively putting people over, and if you look at WCW after his tenure, it fucking died. I mean, that whole NWO take that Vince did about them being like a poison, there was basis in that. Like, Hogan, early 90s, like WWF wouldn't have hit the slump I think it did if that guy had not actively prepared the new generation to be able to take over from him rather than cutting the legs off him.
Yeah, like
Which he did.
that 93,
But like
94,
Like he
95.
just fucking wrecked the place in the 90s.
Yeah.
You look
Ultimately.
at John Cena's reign, and he comes in 2002, starts getting his ascendancy 2005.
Coronation 2005,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
Ascendancy every 2004.
He's on top for like maybe a good 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah, like
if you're looking at Hogan,
8 years fully on top. So.
and like that doesn't like Hogan's run in WWE.
It's 9 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not really that different
Yeah.
in terms of length. I
Yeah.
think what maybe the difference is Cena started kind of maybe towards the end started putting over the likes of Kevin Owens and
But
Styles and-
Cena doesn't seem to be a guy. I mean, granted, he could have put a lot more people over, and he was booked a certain way that wasn't the most exciting for many, mostly
I
years.
hated it.
We all hate it.
Yeah, we all hated it, and it was kind of Hogan-esque booking. But like, it's not like there's loads of guys talking about Cena backstage and how he conducts himself and going like. Yeah, he was kind of a fucking asshole, and he liked people, and he's paying people off. Like the thing with Hogan in terms of his legacy is that like so many of the boys just don't like him. He's alienated generations of locker rooms.
Yeah.
But he's also
many places.
he's also inspired the two biggest boom periods in wrestling, bar maybe what we're going through now.
Do people mostly think he's sound
No.
I don't know.
in the wrestling business?
I'd say Beefcake don't even like him anymore, does he?
Because he fucked his wife. Come on, Shane.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, the
Like-
booty man.
You know,
Zodiac.
everybody, like, not everybody's heard the voice
Bischoff
recordings.
likes him.
Bischoff is another
Bischoff.
lethal dose of poison in the wrestling industry. There's a lad who hasn't a fucking clue what he's talking about.
I don't know.
I'm not saying like Hulk Hogan is completely unlikable. There are likable things about him.
The actual-
I really liked how booed he got on Raw.
I
It
enjoyed
was
the
insane.
boot.
The character of Hulk Hogan then,
If he's doing anything in the future, he just needs to embrace the fact that most people think he's a shitty human
or
being.
do it in Saudi
For
Arabia.
many reasons.
He'd probably get a
It's
cheer
It's
in
not,
Saudi
it's not just
Arabia.
his lies.
He did it though. Remember when he came? The
Yeah,
first time
yeah.
he came back was Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Well, right.
No,
So
remember WrestleMania when he came out dressed as a pirate and got fucking him and Titus O'Neil?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like they just,
I do not remember
It was
that.
pure Vince optics.
Yeah.
It was after the pandemic, and they were like, "Well, you know, Vince is going to go out and get booed, but he won't get booed if we put him with Titus." Which they did, and
Who, Hogan?
Yeah, and he still got fucking booed.
Yeah.
he was dressed as a pirate.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. They put him with the different race.
The pirate themed WrestleMania that was stricken mostly by
Pandemicness and
fucking-
shit matches.
Yeah,
All right, so he's in WCW. Loses to Billy Kidman. Kind of has this weird run. He gets cursed out of it by Vince Russo. He leaves.
Yeah.
And
Sues WCW.
sues WCW. Yeah, for messing around with his character.
counting down the days so he can go back to Vince.
Yeah.
And then he does. He comes back to Vince. Has that NWO moment. I think, like people say, he wasn't expecting that reaction at WrestleMania 18, but he like leaned into it, and that was.
Yeah.
But like also, you know, he just completely flipped the script. He fucked the NWO story.
Like,
he fucked it.
NWO and WWF should have been massive. It should have righted all the wrongs of the invasion storyline. It had the potential to be the biggest thing they've ever done.
But they made a
And
bollocks of it
fucked
from the start.
because they just didn't plan anything. Nash got injured.
Yeah.
well,
Hall was a mess.
they made him look stupid from the start.
Yeah, yeah,
They made him look like they were being big dogged by
but
the
post
WWF.
By Stone Cold. and
Post
the
WrestleMania with the Rock, they just fucking they're like they just go, all right, just put him in the red and yellow.
Fucking, yeah.
Stick on Jimi Hendrix. We'll pay for the rights.
Whatever,
Let him
like,
out there.
yeah.
And they did, and he had this nostalgia run for 3 months.
beats Triple H.
And
Where he
well,
beats
that's-
Triple H clean for the title.
That's the funniest part of all of it for me. The two biggest politickers in the history of the business. Hogan proved there he's Hall of Fame politicker. He out-politic Triple H.
But in fairness, because of that, I'm not saying actually in fairness to Hogan, because in one of the, you know, it's one of the few times where I look at Vince and go, that was cool what you did there. But Vince makes sure for the rest of that summer, then once Hogan drops the title to the Undertaker,
Taker
I
loses
think
it to
Vince
Rock.
Vince very shrewdly went, all right, like I've done a 2 months, 3 months Hogan nostalgia run now. I've got everything I can from it. I'm just going to start getting hit. I'm going to feed him to a couple of guys.
Yeah, Kurt Angle
and
device.
Angle fucking makes him tap out.
yeah,
Get a ring.
loved it.
Lesnar destroys him.
And then he fucked off after Lesnar.
But
did it.
at that point, apparently this is what happened, is that Hogan realised that he was doing jobs and that Vince had promised him that he was going to beat Lesnar later in the year.
Yeah.
You've
No
been
fucking
beating-
chance. No chance.
They've built this kid up as like the biggest fucking threat
Yeah.
in a long time. Hogan just realised, Vince tricked me into doing a lot of jobs.
Yeah, Vince outplayed him there.
Vince outplays him. So Hogan takes his ball, goes home, and comes back on what I presume was the promise, which was followed through on, that when he came back, he would beat The Rock.
Yeah,
which
probably.
he did at No Way Out, which helped cement Rock's very cool heel turn.
Yeah.
At that time, which was much needed.
And he goes on to go up against Vince
At WrestleMania.
at WrestleMania 19, which is a fun match.
It's a really
Do you
fun
know
match.
what? I enjoyed the match.
I really liked it. The storyline fucking builds itself.
Now,
and they did it really well.
in hindsight,
It's one of Hogan's better WrestleMania matches, I would say.
I hate the finish because
Piper.
no, I think two of them should have just died at the end, and the world would
And
have
Roddy
been a
would
better
live,
place.
like the inverse, which
Exactly.
is a real existence.
Like, the two of them are still alive.
It was great
and
seeing
Roddy's not.
Roddy. It was a fucking insane match. That visual of
Vince coming up over
peak
there.
evil, bloodstained Vince, like Crimson Mask. And it was a really cool brawl. Like, it was really obviously well structured.
It was a really good WrestleMania.
In
Great
general,
WrestleMania. Terribly enjoyable WrestleMania.
Terrible kind of what happened afterwards, where like Roddy gets put with Sean O'Hare, and you had the whole Zach Gowen stuff, and then Roddy's gone. And
Sean O'Hare had a really fantastic, innovative gimmick at that time, which
That Karrion Kross is
which
doing.
I kind of feel Karrion Kross is doing now,
Definitely.
and kind of doing a good job of it so far.
You're high on this Karrion Kross thing.
I'm not high. I'm intrigued.
He's tipsy on Karrion Kross.
I'm tipsy. I'm merry on.
Yeah, you're merry on Kross.
What he's been doing the last few months. But Hogan is put with, at least he's put with a young guy. He's put with Zach Gowen.
Yes,
He does his
Hilarious.
weird Mr. America gimmick, which you can't convince me was some way of Vince trying to just make Hogan seem as lame as possible because he was getting annoyed.
I
by
liked
it.
Mr. America.
I enjoyed the
thought it
Mr.
was
I
funny.
enjoyed the stupidity of Mr.
I thought it
America.
was funny, yeah.
I thought it was kind of the ideal thing for Vince to be doing.
Yeah.
You're feuding with Vince and Roddy's back, and there's a young heel, and you're going to be with this one-legged kid.
Yeah.
It's like, that's like you're doing some supporting character shit.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you should be doing now.
at that age, like what he's like 50.
Having
And let
the
Lesnar and fucking
the boys run
Triple
muck in the
H.
main event.
doing the lie
Sure.
detector test.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
that shit was fine. It was perfect for a guy at that stage of his career.
that's kind of like the tail end of his main WWE run.
Yeah,
he
he
came back for one-offs then with Michaels and Orton.
Yeah, like he does
Michaels.
WrestleMania 21. He's inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
He comes out and saves Eugene against Muhammad Hassan.
this is exactly look.
He has a
comes
match-
Back, he has
a match with Eugene against
guy-
Muhammad Hassan and Daivari, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets plugged into that feud as well. This is exactly the stuff you should be doing with
Yeah, yeah,
Hogan in this
yeah.
era. He's tagging with young guys.
Fighting against foreigners,
Yeah, helping people with
helping people against immigrants.
like his old staple.
Yeah, it goes full circle.
Michaels and Orton, he beats the two of them at consecutive
No,
WrestleManias.
he doesn't do the honors on the way out, and he never did.
Never
And,
did. But
like, this
That's
is
why the
Never
karma
did.
of booing feels so satisfying.
This,
It's
this
rich.
this is the time where you're seeing Hogan's knows best. Hogan knows
And
best.
we realised that Hogan does in fact not know
No,
this.
he does not. That is the most garbage
His marriage
television
has
show.
fallen apart.
Yeah, when he puts a GPS tracker on his daughter when she's
Yeah.
going on a date, and I know a lot of it is
Set
like
up
for
or
TV and
yeah,
set
yeah.
up, but like he genuinely looks like an asshole.
Yeah,
Like
Then-
that TV show does not make him look good.
And then in real life, he everything goes so bad for him, his life falls apart.
and he has the
He puts
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Then this fucking sex tape happens. I don't know. I was thinking about the chronology where this happens, where like this is a story he told where he had a gun in his mouth.
Oh yes,
And
sorry.
then Muhammad Ali's daughter, Layla Ali, rings him.
Yeah.
And she tells him, Hulk, you got so many reasons to live.
that
And
definitely
then
didn't happen.
he just goes off and just does loads more shitty things to people.
Do you know the weirdest thing for me was, right, say that Hogan's knows best, was when he's getting ready for a match. I think it could be against Michaels or Orton, and he's trying to like push his daughter's album. That's why
Yes.
like she's inserted into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
But like Hogan comes out and he's getting his tights on, and then I see Hulk Hogan in a thong. I'm like, why did I see Hulk Hogan? And that was just at that age, I was like, that is the strangest thing.
They don't need. It's like Mike Tyson there, seen his bare arse.
I didn't know. I didn't.
Before he fought Jack Paul.
I was like, I didn't know that wrestlers wore thongs. I was like, that.
Do they?
Yeah,
I
do you
think Shawn
Do you know
Michaels.
where a tongue when you wrestled, Shane?
God no.
So like,
I have to
when I
get
go
booked.
to watch OTT there in the next few days, is everyone in the ring wearing a tongue?
Not everyone, but like
Everyone.
There's a lot of thong wearing in wrestling because they don't want the panty lines.
Shit, I gotta ask you, why are we talking about this?
Because
You
I
saw-
just remember seeing Hulk Hogan in a thong and was like, that is the
Out of
weirdest
all the
thing.
elements of his career, why is this the one that has
Yeah,
to be
we're
painting
focusing on
images
it.
in my mind's
It's
eye?
the one that sticks in my brain.
Yeah.
I don't know why I watched.
I never saw a sex tape, so at least I don't have
I
that
didn't
stuck
see
in
a
his
sex
brain.
tape either.
And I
didn't
never
see it.
want to see.
I seen those photos. You know that weird photos that they're kind of like, oh, this Hulk Hogan sex tape.
I read the transcripts of the words he said.
brother,
What
you gonna do?
Anyway, he sued Gawker for
Hulk
fucking
Hogan
millions, made enough money to retire
fucking
on,
won.
set up a new beer company, launched it on Raw on Netflix.
I got booed.
Half its market value.
Well, the
No,
funny
he has
thing
that.
about
He has that TNA run where he ruins that company.
Oh, sorry, he actually buried TNA
He
with his friend
ruined
Bischoff.
TNA. Like, I fucking love TNA. The first thing he comes in, 6-sided ring, gone.
Would you like to see this, right?
Val
Go on.
Venus,
Right.
come on in.
Is
Nasty
it
boy,
like
come on in.
live stream of Hulk Hogan's death?
What would you think of this?
What?
I'd watch that, yeah.
Oh, man.
On
I'm
pay-per-view.
sure it'll be up on RIP.ie.
I'd pay for it, like.
That's
I'd pay for
terrible.
that too.
Matthew, edit that.
Would you be
Hogan dying.
Can I ask a question? Now, Triple H book and Triple H likes riffing off popular culture. Do you think you could do some kind of Star Wars type angle? You know, where Hogan comes back as kind of an Emperor Palpatine type version of Hollywood Hogan and tries to set up a new NWO to take down fucking Triple H.
I think Hogan would love to do that.
Lads, he can only be a heel coming out now, and he can only do really like NWO Hogan. Is there?
We just got booed out of that fucking building that they're on.
Do you think there's any appetite for an NWO reboot?
We
In the same way Hayabusa has been rebooted.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
You know?
Yeah, his family are involved.
Well,
Hogan's family can be involved in. Apart from Brooks, you got nothing to
Do you
do with
want
him.
nothing to do with him?
The-
Fucking creep. Hogan.
Didn't he sleep with one of her friends?
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Oh, man.
And like his ex-wife Linda, like got with like a 23-year-old version of Hulk, like a bit.
Who's the
tall.
23-year-old?
It was like her son's friend.
Her son's friend, right? So we're
Lads,
skipping
they're
over,
fucked up.
right? So that's like he ruins TNA.
Yeah,
right?
ruined
he
it,
ruins
ruined it.
TNA. He's back in the ring. He's wrestling. He's ruined TNA. He gets on Tough Enough when he goes back to WWE.
Does he?
Yeah, he's like a coach on Tough Enough. But this is
Did
when
he coach?
or like he was a
I've never seen it.
judge
I
or
never
whatever.
watched- I've
But
never
this
watched Tough
is
Enough.
when it comes out that this was the 2015 with Patrick Clark and all that on the Tough Enough. But
Patrick Velveteen Dream Clark.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's taking tips from Hogan.
did you see his t-shirt that he wore at a wrestling show last
guilty
night?
by association.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But this
Jeez.
is when the Hulk Hogan like tape gets leaked.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he's using the N-word.
N-word, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this is, and even before we get into that, actually,
I've heard that it is atrocious.
It's
Atrocious.
And it's not even they're like it's not like it's one thing he says and it is just threaded consistently.
It's a
throughout that
consistent thread of
He
horrendous
doesn't even make
wrestling.
like a passing remark. He is just fucking.
and he
he's
doesn't
on
want
racist,
he doesn't
straight up
want his
racist, like.
daughter dating someone of a different race and using the N-word to describe that
Horrible
race.
fucking shit.
But like that, even before that, because I don't want to skip over this, when his son Nick was in that car accident for speeding,
Oh, yeah.
and the other guy became
John
a paraplegic.
Graziano.
Yeah, is a paraplegic now.
Yeah, man, he's sort of like horrible injuries.
And you hear the like.
And how Hogan talks about him over the course of those phone
and you
calls.
hear the phone calls to Nick in prison and talking about trying to get a reality show out of it, and it just goes to show
like a horrible opportunistic
prick.
Yeah,
like,
a horrendous person.
yeah, like lacking empathy, just
Yeah.
not a nice dude. Literally the anti-Bret Hart. I would say.
yeah.
Like there's so much of
that- like,
of
that's
this.
his legacy
And then
now, you
when
know what
he,
I
like,
mean?
goes
That's
back,
why I
when
wanna
he
get
goes
into it.
like he gets like whatever, he gets fucking cancelled to whatever degree he's cancelled. He goes into the WWE locker room where he's an opportunity to talk to talent,
apologise.
particularly like black talent there,
Yeah.
And apologise.
And all he does apparently is just tell them to watch out for
Don't get caught.
how to record it or film that anybody could be listening in.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually overtly apologise for it, and that apparently lost him like any salvation with that.
I
that
think-
locker room, that generation anyway, at least.
And like
Most of them are still there.
I think the thing at the time was like Big E in particular loved backstage. The rest of the wrestlers loved Big E, and he was like fit to kill Hogan. Something I read around that time. He felt like particularly aggrieved with Hogan's supposed apology, and like the WWE propaganda machine went into overdrive in the few days after, trying to make it sound like Hogan apologized, when in fact,
Why do you think they did that? Is it because
Like, they kind of momentarily shadow banned him for a while.
they wanted
They took him out of the intros.
Yeah,
he wasn't
took
in
him
the,
off
they took
the
him out of the
website.
Hall of Fame?
They briefly.
they didn't like. take him out of the Hall of Fame. They just took him off the website.
Yeah, but
The website is the Hall of Fame. What else?
Yeah, I suppose they don't have a.
They don't,
but they never like made an announcement that his Hall of Fame thing was taken away from him.
Maybe they did. But this is all to do with the tape.
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse people and say it's to do with the stuff with his son Nick.
No,
this is all to do with the tape of him saying the N-word.
Heavy racism.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And I remember I just never got why they were going to bring him back.
I never understood it. Never, and I still to this
Was
day.
WrestleMania 30? You know when he comes, welcome to the Superdome or whatever, he fucks that up. That's before that.
It's an extension of this thing that Vince McMahon promised him back in, like, I think as early as the late 80s, where he's like, you'll always be the Babe Ruth of the organisation, and that's you'll be a figurehead and a mascot will wheel you out dressed as a pirate every so often, and that's your spot on the show as an old wrestler.
But like, you know, I never understood going, oh, do you want me to be like, oh, cool, now there's Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, like,
you know, like knowing that, yeah, he's a piece of shit now.
Like
The boys don't like him.
It seems super out of touch in the Triple H era to do this thing with him. I don't understand it.
Oh well,
I see some money.
I was even talking before then. So even before it, maybe there's massive merchandise deals and stuff. Because, like, you know, I collect figures. I have a lot of Hulk Hogan figures. You know what I mean? There's so many different eras that you can pick up, all that kind of stuff. I haven't bought a Hulk Hogan figure in a long time, but like,
part of your old collections.
Is it like the merchandise that can be made off him? I remember I used to have a Hulkamania t-shirt. Don't have it anymore. But
Did you rip it, Shane?
Yeah.
Did you rip it off in disgust?
Yeah, but I ripped off the sleeves first.
Nice.
And then you can't actually do it unless it's pre-ripped.
He must be real strong.
Polyester is solid, but polyester is solid.
But like, is it just purely a money thing initially? Going right, we're bringing him back because there is money and mileage left, or is it that sense of loyalty?
It's just the culture at the moment. Like, there's very few people who are like truly cancelled. They see the potential to maybe make money in him in some way. Certainly,
that's what it is.
TKO must do. And also, it's American culture. It's like, oh, somebody did something absolutely reprehensible. Go away for 2 years and then come back and be grand.
But the funny
Except
thing
I feel like WWE have underestimated and I think wrestlers' attitudes permeate. You know what I mean? We are drowned in so much wrestling content in terms of like backstage interviews and podcasts and fucking web series and everything with so many wrestlers. And wrestlers talk a lot about wrestlers they love and adore. And in some cases, they bury wrestlers they don't like. Yeah. Nobody really talks glowingly about Hogan.
No.
And he's been buried more often than not by a lot of people. So I think this feeds into the culture where, like, you know, people don't want him around as much.
And
Tony Khan, who I'm sure would love a bump to the ratings, he barred him from ever showing up at Dynamite.
Yeah.
He's not well regarded, and that I think trickles out to fans. And I think WWE have probably maybe because now he's showing up at fucking Trump rallies and he's going to Trump events.
I think
he's trying to bolster himself.
I think that's where they made the miscalculation.
No, because like
it's grand if you
Undertaker did the same. Well, like he endorsed Trump.
Yeah, but Undertaker isn't a fucking racist who endorsed Trump. Like, I think people go like, oh well, different politics.
Yeah, no, but that's what that's what I'm saying. I wanted to rule that out of going because he endorsed Trump, and maybe he did it in a bigger way than what Undertaker did.
He was definitely more visual.
But I don't think that's directly the reason why he was booed.
I think the racism has a lot more to do with it.
He endorsed Trump, but he also has a history of horrific racism. And it all gets encapsulated in one.
I find it mad that Trump allowed that endorsement as well.
Sure, Trump don't give a shit.
He's perfect. Like,
I think he panders to the rest all the time. Like, they're both orange.
Orange fucking men.
Like I think it's the total package with Hogan. It's the fact that everyone knows he's a piece of shit. Like, and you know, and like,
do you think we've done it justice? Talking about why he's a piece of shit. Like, do you have to get into his lies?
On this podcast, on this episode, Morro wished him dead.
Yeah, he did. He said he paid to watch him.
I'm not taking the heat for this one. I'm talking
are you editing that out?
I don't know, maybe. Yeah.
So if you didn't hear me say it,
sorry,
it was edited out. Can I go through some Hulk Hogan lies here?
Yeah, I really want to get into this.
So Hulk Hogan says he wrestled 400 days in 1 year, and this is because he travelled so much between Japan and USA, and the time difference added up and made it possible to wrestle 400 different days in 1 year.
That makes sense.
It's like the fucking opposite of like Chuck Norris facts.
Yeah.
Which regale you anyway. I bet these are like just depressingly weird lies that this fucking man has told over the years.
One that sticks out to me, my favourite band of all time, Metallica. Hulk Hogan was apparently going to be their bassist against.
He also said he was approached to be the Rolling Stones bassist.
He also said that Darren Aronofsky wanted him to play the Oscar-nominated lead role in his film The Wrestler, which went to Mickey Rourke instead of Hogan because Hogan just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, he said that Aronofsky approached him multiple times.
Aronofsky went on the record and said he'd never even considered Hulk Hogan once.
Same as Metallica and Rolling Stones.
You told one before we went on the air that you said thought might be true, might not be true, or
he knows where Sugar is.
he physically buried Sugar.
I don't know. Maybe
very Irish joke.
No, one that I genuinely believed for years, so I was absolutely taken by Hogan's potential lies here, was that he was the one who was originally offered the George Foreman grill, and I don't know, he was like fucking shooting thunder in paradise or something. He didn't get the call, so he missed the opportunity for this piece of franchising.
His agent never informed him.
I just believed that when I was young.
That seems plausible. It seems plausible.
What did he do though? Didn't he release something along
a blender or something?
Hulk Hogan blender.
Yeah, the Hulk Hogan blender.
And did you hear the one where he met a child with leukemia?
Yes.
In Wembley
For SummerSlam 92.
SummerSlam 92. Met a child with leukemia. Came out for the match. Didn't see the child in the stands.
Saw the empty seat.
Went backstage. Decided to write a whole song about it after he found out the kid had passed away. The only problem is Hulk Hogan was never on SummerSlam 92. He wasn't even in the company at the time, so therefore this did not happen.
That child likely did not exist or was confused by some other child. To Hogan's credit, he was always pretty good with kids, certainly in comparison to the Ultimate Warrior. He's got a decent record there. There's not a lot of stories that have been real shitty to kids that I'm aware of.
My mate Louis actually did me a drawing of Ultimate Warrior shouting at a kid in an airport.
Nice.
And I was like, class.
Yeah. He partied with John Belushi after WrestleMania 2.
John Belushi was dead.
4 years.
He claims that one time he went into a hotel room with Andre the Giant, and Andre took a shit in the bath that was so big that I went up to the taps. he genuinely said that. Hogan went on the record to fucking ruin his friend's reputation by telling them that.
That is fantastic.
There's no way they did a shit in the bath that went up to the taps.
Well,
No.
you never know.
No,
Japan.
it's a bat.
It's bad in Japan as well, isn't it?
Maybe
I heard Andre had to shit in a sheet though sometimes too.
So what have he did? That's his own personal business.
No, but I'm saying, does he shit in the bath or
That
does he
man's
shit
been
in a
fucking
sheet?
dead for 32 years now.
Yeah, I don't know. Shit that fills a bathtub like.
Didn't Hulk Hogan say he died fairly recently after WrestleMania 3?
Hogan died?
Sorry, no.
Hogan said Andre.
Hogan claimed he was the first one to slam Andre.
And Andre died like weeks later.
A week later. Andre died like years later.
And Hogan broke his back in 18 places trying to slam
All
him.
his vertebrae just went pop, 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 pop. Now the thing is,
So firstly, Hogan wasn't the first to slam Andre.
Hogan had previously
Hogan had
slammed him.
slammed
Hogan hadn't slammed him himself, but loads of people slammed Andre.
Like they had a fucking cage match in Shea Stadium in like 1980.
Yeah, like 5 years.
I don't think it was a cage match.
7 years earlier, was
Yeah.
it? 6 years earlier.
Hogan slammed him.
No, sorry.
wasn't a cage match.
Zbyszko San Martino was the cage, wasn't it? I'll put that in on the match.
And then I love this one.
corrected.
Hogan claimed that he and Antonio Inoki had a match in Japan where Hogan beat him so badly that Inoki died, but got brought back to life via CPR after the match. Hulk Hogan couldn't work in Japan for many years after because the Yakuza wanted to kill him.
He couldn't work because fucking Hiro Matsuda broke his fucking leg in training, or so he claimed.
Oh
So
yeah, he
he
claims that.
I would totally believe the fact that Hogan went to Japan. He had a decent enough run there, but like
He actually wrestled well.
He did.
He
And he also
yeah.
used his alternate finisher, the Axe Bomber, which was so much better than the leg drop.
yeah.
And if he stayed using it and he kept that, he got that move over in the US, he could probably still be wrestling today.
Yeah,
his leg drops fucked up his hips. Like.
Yeah, you see him now even walking out on Raw.
He's in bits. That man is creaking.
That man needs a
like an old barn
segue.
door.
He said Elvis was a Hulkamaniac.
Elvis died before Hulkamania existed.
Hogan did wrestle in Memphis for the first time in '77, but like.
Elvis died in 78, was it? Or 76?
In 77.
Very tight turnaround
But
there.
it's there's a tight turnaround.
Well, it would have been Hulkamania. It would have been a Terry Boulder.
It doesn't have any pictures of him hanging out with Elvis.
He doesn't.
Elvis was not in great shape at the time, to be fair.
What do we have?
But was
doubt he'd be going to
there
wrestling
talks
matches.
of Elvis and Jerry the King Lawler instead of Andy Kaufman?
That could have been a plan.
Elvis was going to be involved in some type of Memphis. Did you hear the thing about Ric Flair saying that was it Jessica Alba he slept with, or he was going out with Jennifer Anderson, or one of them?
Jesus Christ.
He betted over 10,000 women. Someone did the math on that. It's just not
There's just so
possible.
many women who are just going like, no, I didn't.
Yeah,
Stop saying that, you fucking
I
weirdo.
thought it was Ric Flair and Jessica Alba. There was some type of rumor, and then she denied it.
Why would that even?
The timeline's not add up there.
I think
Then you look at Flair and you go, like, he doesn't mind fudging those timelines.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
wouldn't give two
Look,
shits.
Flair's a bit of a liar as well. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think he slept with 10,000 women?
No,
He's not on tape like Hogan is.
yeah, we've no evidence.
yeah. So Hogan, that whole Gawker thing.
Like, looking for that tape now, we were.
No.
I want to look at him.
I think it's Jessica. I think it is Jessica
popping
Alba.
up and down the air.
Jesus Christ. Hogan claims he slept, or Flair claims he slept to Jessica Alba.
So basically, Hogan has lied a lot over the years, and they're so grandiose and so exaggerated that people just kind of laugh at them now. You know,
Yeah.
it's very hard to take the man seriously.
You can't. And he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
And like, I would watch him die. Like,
What's Hogan's legacy?
he's a piece of shit.
His fans wish death upon him.
I don't wish death upon
He
him.
got booed out of the building, like on the Netflix opening of
Yeah.
Raw. He like that was just such a bad call in so many ways. Like if they're still promoting his beer brand, I don't know what you're going to do, but I would suggest bring him out as just an asshole heel, just this fucking.
Don't put him on TV.
Bring him out as an old racist.
Don't put him on TV.
You know what? He'd be a great manager for the New Day.
Oh Jesus Christ.
They could the new incarnation of them could work wonders.
No,
with
just
him.
don't associate yourself with Hulk Hogan.
Ideally, actually,
they bring him in as their.
Didn't he say give up beer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who?
He says he's doing something where he's like, oh yeah, I don't drink beer. My life is someone, and then now he has a beer brand.
Yeah, and he found Christianity again with his new partner or whatever. But also, I'd seen this thing a couple of years ago, and I might misremember some of this, but I think I'm fairly spot on. He had hired, like, through an agency, some model to promote his beer, and she was a very attractive black lady, and had her replaced when he found out she was black.
What do you replace her with?
A white
Leslie.
A white woman. A white man.
The booty man is back again.
You replaced her with like a generic blonde white girl model.
He did celebrity wrestling. Remember that?
What celebrities did he wrestle?
No, he had like Screech from. It was like a reality show where
Screech, another upstanding member of society.
Dead now. Also, who? Another person who
Dennis Rodman won it. He won the first title.
Did you remember fairly pally, weren't they? I wouldn't like to be. I wouldn't like to be out in a fucking beer with Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman.
That seems like
I'd hate
anxiety inducing.
hell.
Imagine that.
class.
What pub in town?
Imagine sitting in Clears with two boys. Here, boys, we popped down to Harkins for a quick pint there.
Dennis Rodman calling up King John and seeing if he's coming on one.
Jesus.
Dennis Rodman going through the back of Clears would be carnage. I'd have to bend down so fucking low.
No, imagine the anxiety. You're sitting in
Imagine
Clears
watching fucking Dennis Rodman stooping down the way towards
Paul,
you.
can I get
Pink head on him.
3 pints of ale there, Paul, there, please? Just leave them over there so I'll come and get them.
Yeah.
You don't.
Dennis wants some Cristal.
Yeah, oh, fuck that. Like, so
He's acting as if it is a possibility.
and
You never know.
Gives me the
lead singer of Led Zeppelin does be drinking here in Kilkenny, Robert Plant.
Yeah.
And apparently Hulk Hogan played bass for Led Zeppelin.
Can Hulk Hogan actually play an instrument?
I don't know.
Well, he wasn't in band in college, wasn't he?
Yeah, but you do
You
see
look mad defensive all of a sudden now. me questioning Hulk Hogan's
Yeah,
musical
how
fucking
dare he? He
prowess.
plays the fucking saxophone, man. No, you see him in.
Thunderlips.
Thunderlips. That's how he got the name.
You do see him in that American Made, like where he has the.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it doesn't look like he's playing.
No, I don't know.
Look, I'm not denying the man can play air guitar. I've seen him do it for years.
Yeah.
Can he play real guitar?
He can play belt guitar.
I can play air guitar. I'm fucking fantastic. I'm actually a deadly air bassist.
Slap at the bass.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't like Hulk Hogan anymore.
No. I know. I never
liked
see him
him.
on
I liked
TV
him when
again.
I was never a man. I can't believe we talked this long about him.
But can I also just say as well, you're WWE and you want to do a beer deal. Do it with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
just do a Stone Cold, a bit like the one guy who we go that he was a bigger star.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah,
was.
but they're
like,
paying.
Also,
Like,
Mount Rushmore. Beer is literally his gimmick.
His gimmick.
You know,
He's the beer guy.
Is Stone Cold Beer paying to be part of the Real America Beer must be paying?
100%.
Yeah, well then.
Are they just not into IPAs and they need some fucking soft fucking lager shit?
I'd say it's piss.
What other wrestlers do you think would be good at because you have Termalina or whatever the fuck it's called?
Termana. The Rock's Tequila.
The Rock's Tequila.
Did you ever have a sniff of that?
No. Rob Van Dam's weed.
Rob Van Dam's weed. What other what's CM Punk releasing?
Ice cream bars.
Ice cream bars.
Ice cream bars.
But
That was his thing.
if you were to have like the head of who would be the head of your whiskey brand?
Well, you have to get flair for some kind of fucking cognac, wouldn't you?
Drew McIntyre would be whiskey.
Yeah, Sheamus would be your stout. Sheamus is your stout.
McIntyre for the Scotch.
Real
Sheamus for the
American
whiskey.
stout.
I don't know. Well, Finn Balor could do some kind of cracked fucking poutine.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he has kind of a poutine head in him, doesn't he?
Yeah, doesn't he? Vince? Conjuring up there like fucking letting the demon out.
He's coming out of a bottle,
the
a
demon's
bottle of
back, lads.
poutine.
Burn out matches.
Just your man's after
Jamie
bringing
Noble
the demon
gin.
out. Jamie Noble gin, I can see that.
He'd be making that in his trailer park. That'd be pure fucking like.
That'd be
Yeah, it'd be like Shabin
It'd be
Hooch.
moonshine. Like.
Moonshine.
made in the inside of a tire.
Yeah, Jamie Noble's your moonshine guy.
Well, that's been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show, the legacy of Hulk Hogan. Let us know what you think
Let
of
us know
Hulk.
if this works for you, brother. Brothers, sisters.
And Bo Dallas to WrestleMania, that video will be coming very, very soon. Thanks very much for listening. Stay safe, stay sane.